The concept car is supposed to come very soon. It's a car of character.
It's a little bit different to the Goodwood Festival of Speed, but luckily we get a chance to drive these fantastic cars up the hill.
I'd like to welcome to the stage, we've got Martin Rowe, Gethin Jones and Richard Morris, and of course next to me, Jacky Ickx. If you don't know, I'm Sam from the YouTube channel Seenthroughglass, and today we're just going to have a bit of a chat about what it's like to be a racing driver at Goodwood Festival of Speed. Because I think us merry folk who come here year on year to enjoy cars and enjoy the action want to get an insight as to what it might be like, not only to drive up the hill, but also to walk past cars maybe that you have driven in the past. So I'm going to kickstart things, guys, with a horrifically open question. How did you get into racing?
I'm Richard. I've been driving since 2005 in karting. I grew up in one of those families where my dad had a massive passion for motorsport, watched Formula One all the time. My godfather used to race Formula Fords back in the 70s and 80s, just on an amateur basis. And I grew up with cars around me and the Formula One on the TV, and I was bugging my dad constantly, when can I go driving? And actually the chance started when a friend of mine just had a birthday party in karts. I went along, I drove a kart, I was way over competitive, but I massively enjoyed it. I went back, I just kept practicing. Eventually my dad got me a kart, and I've just taken everything from there, all the driving I've done. And how did I wind up here? Well, there are twists and turns in your driving career, and I was lucky that I got the invite from Genesis a couple of years ago. This is my third Festival of Speed with Genesis. It was a little bit out of the blue. They saw the racing I was doing in prototypes. We're following that sort of stuff, and just said, would you like to come and drive the Festival of Speed? And I jumped at the chance, and I'm so glad that I did, because it is so special to be here.
Amazing. Gethin, how about you?
So a little bit different for myself, because a rallying background rather than a racing background, so I'm happy being in the gravel. My father was rally driving when I was a child, so it was inevitable. They're going to end up in a rally car. I loved, that experience and the cars sliding around, and it's a little bit different at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, but luckily we get a chance to drive these fantastic cars up the hill. This is my fourth year now with Genesis. From the beginning I've been driving the vehicles, so yeah, been really having great fun with them.
Incredible. Martin, coming to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Martin. I was brought up on the Isle of Man, and lots of motorsport there. My dad had me on a motorbike at 4 years old, so got used to feeling. And rally-wise, right place, right time. I ended up having the opportunity to drive with some amazing people. Won the British Championship, Chinese Championship, Production World Championship, and then moved to Canada. And the Genesis story, I got a call, got the opportunity to come and join Genesis. So I flew all the way from Vancouver to do this. But great people, amazing cars, and we're having fun. So.
Well, fun it does seem to be. We can hear people doing what sounds like pretty fat burnouts away from the start line, which is literally just behind the Genesis stand here at Festival of Speed. Is it genuinely as much fun as it sounds and looks to do the Hillclimb here at Festival of Speed?
Yeah, it really is that fun. I mean, as a racing driver, you don't often get to just enjoy driving at an event. I've been racing now for a long time by my standards. I know Jacky's going to say you started yesterday, but I'm racing a GT car at the moment. I was racing prototypes before that, single seaters, all that sort of thing. And those race weekends are great, but they're very precise. They're about tuning the car in, getting the last thousandth of a second. Whereas this is purely about the passion. This is about the fun, enjoying, putting on a show for all of you, and just loving driving the car. And I'll never get tired of that. It's amazing.
And Jacky, am I right saying that you took the GV60 Magma concept up the hill yesterday? Is that correct?
Yes, the idea was to show the car. Oh, it's fairly unique. You said it's a concept car, it's supposed to come very soon. It's a car of character. Compared to a classic G60, it's very powerful. Yes, it's very precise. And as you can see, it's obviously orange, but they asked me to wear orange pants as well to make sure that I have understand what is a Magma. So it worked.
I heard a little story from some of the team here that you can never trust a racing driver in any car, because apparently they were doing some photographs of you in this, and you said, can I have a go? And they said, sure, and you took off at such a speed. They thought, oh my God, let's hope nothing happens to the car before the hill climb. But Gethin, just describe to us, obviously huge crowds here at Festival of Speed each year, that sort of shared passion, that enthusiasm for cars that we all seem to have. Does that make it even more special than a race weekend? Obviously, where it's competitive and you're focusing on times. Here, it's just a chance to celebrate cars.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference. We were talking with Jacky upstairs, and he was saying just how this is somewhere where passion really comes through. And you notice that from the crowds that are dispersing in front of the vehicle as you try and drive up to the start line, the smiles on people's faces, people asking to have conversations all the time, and the fact you get a chance to drive the cars quickly up the hill at speed and see some great friends when you're here as well. But yeah, we're in a great position to really have some fun with the cars, that's for sure.
Martin, what have you gone up the hill in so far? Are you in one of the Magma concepts as well?
No, I'm actually in the G70. It's the Nordschleife taxi. So it's not in the Magma range, but it's really good fun. I've done a few runs yesterday, and the more time I'm spending in the car, the more I'm liking it.
I'm assuming you're all using the boost function and the sports modes to really get the most out of the car.
Yeah, I'm in the GV60 Magma concept, and that's certainly a car that's got plenty of power off the line. Great with the sound effects we've got now as well. It has this rev limiter sound when you go off on the line on launch control, lights all four wheels up, so it's certainly entertaining.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I think it's definitely been catching a lot of people's attention. From everything else that you've seen here on the stand and everything, is there another car that you kind of wish you could hustle into? Who decides what you're driving up the hill? Is there a raffle?
Luckily, neither of us had to decide. So if somebody else made the decision, I think it was based on age and experience. So Richard's got the slowest car because of his age. Martin's in the middle, and I'm at the eldest one, really.
Yeah, I've driven a few of the Genesis cars over the years. The electrified GV70 will always be special to me because I gave it its first drive in Europe, and it was my first time up the hill at the Festival of Speed. It had the boost button, and it was so much fun. got a little bit addicted to that. But yeah, with the G80 Magma Special I'm driving this weekend, I've only had one run with the car, but already loving it. It is fast, it's responsive. I think Genesis does a great job of taking relatively larger cars, luxury cars, and making them feel precise and sporty and like you can really throw them about.
Now, Jacky, I assume whilst most of the hill climb is not competitive, a lot of it is show runs. When you line up at the start line, do you feel those old competitive juices starting to flow? Do you take it pretty seriously, or for you it's just a bit of fun this weekend?
Yes, it's the start. We have a competition sense. The start, it's always special. But we know it's not about showing ourselves. We know it's about showing the family cars who have character. You mentioned the acceleration of the GV60. It's a rocket, I tell you. It's really fast. And they did an extremely nice job in doing that car. But for the pleasure of the public, because it's a fantastic vehicle.
Now, everyone listening and watching, we are going to be losing our three drivers shortly because they will be doing the hill climb. What's the one thing that people might not realize about the hill climb standing from the side? Because it's quite narrow, right?
Yeah, you've certainly got those changes of character. Over the crest braking into Molecombe is always the place that people make a mistake. But as you approach the flint wall, all you see is the flint wall. And you just think, let's get the braking point right before quickly going through and up the rest of the hill.
Yeah, and because it is uphill, you can actually brake quite late. But it's all the shadow of the trees is there, and all you can see is the wall. So the first time that you drive it, you really have to have your wits about you. But I've now done 15 hill runs, and each time you just start pushing it a little bit more, a little bit more. You know, that's what racing drivers do. You know, it is a demo event, but we are racing drivers, and if you think, oh, the car can give a bit more, yeah, you take a little bit more, and it's, you know, within the confines of it being a demo, but we have a lot of fun with that.
Just coming to look at the audience, anyone got a particular question for any of our three hill climb drivers?
Which one of the drivers has been the fastest up the hill?
Which one of the drivers has been the fastest up the hill?
I can guarantee it's the young man here as well, because we're too old these days.
I saw Martin go off the line yesterday, and he says he's still building up, but he was looking pretty sharp. I mean, honestly, I've been really lucky. The time I've been driving for Genesis, all the other drivers we've had in the cars have been really high quality. It's just a privilege to have them about.
What's the fastest speed any of the drivers have hit going up the hill, and which is the fastest section?
So the only time I really checked was on the last run yesterday in the GV60 Magma concept, and just before braking for the crest before Molecombe, it was showing about 200 kilometers an hour, so about 125 miles an hour.
Pretty quick.
I tend not to look at the speedo because I just always want it to be faster, always a higher number. So it doesn't matter what it says. But no, I mean on that straight, it does feel fast, and I really enjoy that bit under the bridge.
One more question before the drivers have to go.
So with the increase in electric cars, do you sometimes feel like the perception of the speed becomes harder compared to like a combustion engine?
That's a really interesting question. So I drove the GV60 Sport Plus first time 3 years ago. I ended up buying a GV60 Sport myself, so I put my own money into buying a Genesis. And certainly I think that perception of speed is an interesting thing to be aware of. With the new vehicle, with the sound generator on it, I certainly don't notice any difference compared to a combustion engine car in that way. You just get that incredible torque, acceleration, incredible charging speeds with 800-volt technology as well, which is important, but you get that same engagement and fun with the vehicle as well.
Fantastic. Well, guys, look, we can't take up too much more of your time because you have to go and get prepared. And if you don't know, it takes a long time, a lot of waiting around before we actually do the hill climb. But good luck, be safe, enjoy it. Hopefully we'll hear some of you pulling away from the line. But a round of applause for our 3 drivers, Genesis, this weekend. Now, of course, Jacky, you're still here. What made you end up working with Genesis? Obviously, you have a great history in automotive. What was it about Genesis that sort of attracted you at first?
Well, the Genesis story, it's special. Clearly, I have a certain age. I don't know if I'm the oldest one here or not, but there are good chances that you have not seen me racing in the past and so on. Anyhow, you have to know that I have been very privileged in the success of different categories, and the most important point is to say that you are no one if you don't have the right group of people around you. I compare the race driver as an iceberg. You see the top of it emerge from the water, you get the glory and you get all the blame if you have a problem. But clearly, the main part of the iceberg, it's 90%, it's below the water. When you receive a good car for a group of people who are motivated and passionate, the job, probably it's already done before the start. You just have to finish the job. And if you believe in the people around you, sharing the same feelings, the same desire, it is very special. If there is one word to remember today, it will be the word Sonnim. Sonnim, it's an attitude, and it's all about Genesis, it's the attitude. Sonnim, it's a way to consider the people you meet as your guest, and the friendly aspect of being a guest.
You hinted at your age, let's not dwell on it, but in my lifetime, road cars have changed a lot. It's a rapid amount of development going on in the automotive world. I can only imagine in your short life how much road cars have changed. So these days, what is it about modern cars that you like? What are the features that you think, this is great, I'm so glad this was introduced? Do you use cruise control when you drive?
Are you from the police?
What features, what things about new cars do you like the most?
Well, what you have to know about mobility, because we are talking about modernity and mobility. Can you imagine how was life 200 years ago? But 200 years ago, you live where you are born, and the limit of your knowledge are the limit of your vision. Today, everyone is free to live where he wants, when he wants, without having the permission. That's about freedom. We are discussing about freedom. Our cars of character, but will provide those who are around here at Goodwood the pleasure of driving something special. The rest, it's about every personal taste. But the vision is to give everyone the opportunity to enjoy what they like. And that's the goal of the Korean people, that's the goal of Genesis, the respect for those who are the future customer eventually, because the best ambassador for the success of the brand is those who trust in something, they are happy about it, and the service comes next. In that overall attitude about respect for the customer, Genesis is clearly a great option.
For the future, we expect multiple solutions, like you mentioned, various different fuels, various different engines. But Magma is really about performance for Genesis. And so you as a racing driver, you as an enthusiast, what is performance? Is it acceleration? Is it handling? Is it brakes? What are the things that you go, okay, this is a performance car, not a family car?
It's a rocket. True. I don't say you're going to do moon with it, but yes, it is. But the best thing I can wish you is to have the opportunity one day to try it and make your own opinion about it, because you are going to be very, very surprised. It's really amazing. There are some cars who have something special. That's the case with Genesis, because they pay a lot of attention to where and to who the car are going.
So we've got a couple of social media questions first. What was the most defining moment in your career?
Well, to select one, it's not very easy. Amazingly, I came to Goodwood in 1965. Ken Tyrrell offered me to to test a Formula 2. During that test, I spun about 8 times at the chicane, and probably it's a record. And then finally, I crashed in the corner number 1, you know, the long, fast one at the end of the straight. So I thought it was going to be the end of my short career. To finish that sentence, you realize how privileged I was and how grateful I am to have these opportunities, so are totally unique.
What advice would you give your younger self at the beginning of your career?
I used to say, dream, dare, and don't give up. Today, I have changed the order. Today, I consider the number 1 is to dare the most difficult part. If you dream about something, dare first. Don't have any fear to go for it, because the worst that may happen, it's only a no. It's nothing. And as you are ready not to giving up, it's not a problem. You restart the whole story. Dream. Continue to dream in a world where it's not easy. In a world where it's very difficult. Nothing is easy. That's why 3 days or 4 days at Goodwood are fabulous, because you can put your problem on the side and you can enjoy with the other something fantastic.
I have to say, I find it quite inspiring that you're still dreaming, and I think that's great to see. I'll do a couple of questions before we wrap things up.
What was your favourite car you ever raced?
It would be easier for me to say which car I hated the most.
Yeah, I think I'd like to know that as well.
Hi, Jacky. Obviously a very forward-thinking person, but looking back, who is your greatest rival?
They're all great rivals, because there is only one position, it's first. Second, it's not a success. It's a compensation in a way, but that's not the goal. The goal is to be part of a group who is supposed to be able to win, and the real goal is to try to win.
Look, we've had a lot of people come and go as we've been talking. I think we're all petrol heads here at Goodwood Festival of Speed. There's a lot of new cars on display, new car brands. If someone has just arrived, why should we be considering Genesis? Why should we be looking at these Magma concept cars over and above everything else? What do you think people should take away about Genesis?
Because to me they look different, because there is a human attitude in it. Son, Nim.
A connection, and I think that's what we're all looking for. We want to connect with the cars, create stories, create moments, have something that's a bit more personal than just a steering wheel, a brake and a throttle. But anyway, I think we have to have a huge round of applause for the legend that is Jacky Ickx.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please explore the stand and come back. We're having another chat a little bit later on today. Thank you.